Adam Ryan Thorne every year asks friends and family to give him choices of bad movies that will annoy him and slow down his overly anxious, rotting already brain. Rotting already. It's already rotting. But it rots more now. This is part two of the 2024 Painathon of Doom. The second half of his day. Of his pain. Because of you. Is this poetry? Okay, next up was Matchstick Flame 2, the sequel. I realized last year's Painathon was November of last year, and I did it at Eyesore, where I was doing the real-time reviewing and leaving clips all on all our socials. This we're doing later. The rule is usually that I do it alone, but for two of the films last year, Milo of Trading Cards came down and hung out, and he got stuck watching Matchstick Flame 1. It is a passion project, no budget, filmed in California by California adults who have never gotten into the film world but wish they did. Well, there's one or two has-been actors that they paid for, but the ones that just appear in all the like shit, no budget Hollywood stuff because they can't afford to travel. But this sequel, Passion Project to Hell, made by a guy who I think runs some marketing company, and so that he thought he could be an action star, and he's a classic dad bod thing. Get a little bit more chin in this sequel. It's not been that long since the first one, and it looks even more dad bod. So when he's doing all his action stuff, it looks even funnier. I feel like he's a little self-aware though, because he cracks a lot of like He-Man style jokes when he fights people, and sometimes he stumbles on them. And I feel like if since he was in control of it, he would recut if he didn't think that the stumbling was funny. Um, Basically, it seems like Chuckles from the G.I. Joe animated movie is having a Miami Vice-esque adventure as a double agent trying to take down the mob. In the sequel, now it's more bad guys that have come back in his past as he's now returned back to California after some downtime from the first movie. Right off the bat, you get this hilariously MS Paint animated beginning with a gun doing it to like look like a James Bond thing, and then someone's mom standing on a beach doing I'm pretty sure white woman doing a Bollywood dance that looks more like a teen's TikTok dance, so maybe a Bollywood dance very badly on this stone beach. We watch it for way too long, and then someone comes up and the dialogue hits, and this is where you realize you're in a movie that should be in the category of maybe even Under the Room. Dialogue like The Room, but filmed worse than The Room. A lot like Birdemic. Again, people just reading the dialogue that they're given and not questioning it because they don't care. um, it's such amazingly explanatory dialogue. Maybe they think they're being smart by talking that way. What makes it way funnier though, and but I don't think that's on purpose. I don't think that's on purpose. Dalton, our hero in here, is saving the girl who again is someone's mom. There's this great scene where they're having like a sort of romantic talk, laying on either a carpet or a low couch in front of this fireplace, in what probably is his really nice California home, because I guess he's a guy with money who's decided to make movies for himself because he thinks he could be this hero. Right up there with Getaven type of things that you may know that movie by other titles. But they're sitting there anyway on this in front of the fire talking, and you can see the woman is either been drinking or is just really tired and doesn't care, and letting Dalton, our writer, director, producer, and star, just talk because she keeps nodding constantly when there's no reason to nod, which seems like she's trying to keep her head up. So she's like, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, though, it involves him going into this building to fight a bunch of bad guys one by one. It's like worst game of death ever. And you will die when you see him showing off his nunchuck skills. He says a line to somebody. Every time he meets a guy, he says some sort of insult that's supposed to be funny and just seems like a child trapped in a tall man's body. Yeah, what if Big decided he would kung fu fight people? Very kindergarten ninja, which we've talked about before. When he sees this one guy with the nunchucks and just says, I hate your ponytail because it makes you look like a horse and I want to cut it. And then he decides to show off his nunchuck skills, which just looks like a kid having a tantrum. There's so many moments where I just sort of wish the bad guy would have just like hit him once and clocked him. But he's the hero. He's got to do what he's got to do. So this is like, was a movie I've reviewed before, Way of the Fist or something. That involves me researching before I do these. My brain's already melting. It's filmed the same way. It has the same overdone plot, overdone acting, terrible, over-explanatory dialogue, filmed on a digital camera. Obviously, adult men running around the streets filming this where the public can just see them, which really lets me know why I always try to film indoors in my movies, because I know when I'm doing my movies, that's what I fucking look like. And at least I'm embarrassed. Maybe I just shouldn't. But, yeah, I mean, these movies are kind of infamous. They're not making anyone any money, though, but I kind of do want to at least re-show the first one and have a bunch of people watch it with me. In this one, was getting tired. I've had a really long day already, and I dozed off in the last 5 minutes, and it ended much quicker than I thought. Then my eyes opened up, and I was watching it on Tubi, and it clicked right to an episode of Magic School Bus, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Which means I had to jump back and watch the last, it's only 4 minutes again, but it means I had to go back. I do this for you, folks, so you don't have to. But if you want to watch the first one with me, we'll tell Milo, who showed up for it last year, that he can stay home. Yeah, I was just watching cartoons, just hanging out here with Battle Armor He-Man. He-Man. Yeah, saw that new season of the Kevin Smith He-Man. I absolutely loved it. The rest of you don't. Whatever. But speaking of things that some people love and some people don't, a lot of people who are just a little bit younger than me really love the Wachowski's Speed Racer movie. That movie's 2 hours and 13 minutes long. And of course, hi Maddie, that was your choice. You wanted me to watch Speed Racer. My answer was, love you Maddie, but because the last time I watched Speed Racer, this is what happened to me. So I just can't do it. I mean, maybe I'm failing this Painathon, but this Painathon is not sponsored by anyone. No one's paying for this one. Sometimes they have. This one's not. This one's just for you guys. So I will complain about having already gone through the pain of Speed Racer. And I know a lot of you just love it. You just love it because you love that digital color in that. I love brightly colored things, but then only when they're filmed in a weird kind of grainy film as well. It's just the way my old man eyes go. Not even when I was old. When I was young, I was like that. It's just the way mine are. So, I thought I'd watch some Speed Racer cartoons. It's funny when I say that it was 2 hours for the Wachowski big budget American film. When to me, the superimposing green screening on that looks like The Amazing Bulk meets Spy Kids 3, and other people think it's brilliant and beautiful. And if I was ever going to watch Amazing Bulk right now, I've done it. I'd probably already bail out on that too. I might have watched Spy Kids 3 if someone chose that, but the original Mach Go Go Go, the Japanese cut of the original Speed Racer, episodes were 43 minutes long, and we then cut the hell out of it for our versions for Speed Racer. So I guess the concept of doing a movie making it really long is honorable, but not for today. And I wasn't even going to watch the original. I thought about watching a Japanese cut, so watching it in Japanese and just, with no subtitles, so that would be my pain on that. But then I remembered something worse, something darker, something way more evil. Speed Racer, The Next Generation. The Fox Kids half CGI, half Flash atrocity of kids television. If you go and look it up online, you'll find every comment will be, man, I knew this wasn't good, but I remembered it looking better than this. because the commercials only showed you the CGI stuff during the time of like Beast Wars and Reboot and stuff like that. This was worse, to go from just flash animation that looked like South Park for the people talking, and then, which I mean, classic Speed Racer, you know, he'd go ha punch to like kick things, or ha for his machine guns and stuff. So he didn't move a lot of frames, but it's whacked. And then that bad 3G. We're living in a Nintendo 64 post world right then, so I guess we were okay with it as kids at that point. We were all fooling ourselves there too, thinking that Banjo and Kazooie was the greatest thing we'd ever seen, even believing that Bubsy 3D wasn't a crime to humanity. But yes, Speed Racer: The Next Generation, right down to messing with the cars, right down to messing with the characters, because I guess it's different characters technically. And that Hot Wheels CGI bullshit. It's still not the worst part. It's still the characters talking.
Better than anyone else at school. I guess you want to be a racer too, huh?
Sure. That's all I ever wanted to do. Spartle said I was supposed to be getting ready for my qualifier.
I crashed on my qualifier. Boom! I singed my eyebrows off. I'm a terrible racer.
Still, that's so nauseating. Almost left me like this. But it didn't, because it wasn't the movie. It's getting later, so we're watching something spooky. It's in, I would say Italian, a very European horror film from 1987 called SPECTERS. I kind of have a feeling it probably released under other names too, but I'm shocked I've never seen this. It's very much following the numbers of that style of film, if you've ever seen that before. It does have a little bit cheaper feel because it's later 80s, so it feels more like an Umberto Lenzi or a Lamberto Bava film. It definitely has a demons type feel to it. I'm shocked David Warbeck is not in this, but there is a mysterious blind man who wanders these catacombs and keeps showing up with white light behind him, who seems to be dubbed by whatever voice actor always dubbed David Warbeck. Donald Pleasance is in this too. He's dubbed by himself though, so a lot of his scenes are by himself. I need to walk around for a bit, so I'm going to act out a scene of this. There's a bit where Donald Pleasance is talking to some students, and he's walking around telling a story, and then he just stops and turns around and walks the other way. Obviously the close-up shots were done separately and they just let him wander, so then it just cuts to the students very confusedly turning around. I'm sure it's not a gag. I'm sure it's because those two different angles were filmed at a very different time. He is actually in frame with them, so he is there, but like anything with Donald Pleasance in the 80s, you get him for an hour, you travel him out to wherever you are, you've got him for the day, not an hour, but for the day. So you work the hell out of him. You do a million different shots and scenes because you're not going to be able to get him back for reshoots. Regardless, this movie is super stylized. Really takes so long to get to the point. It all has these build-ups to great things that follow a lot of Fulci Argento type stereotypes, a lot of close-ups to the eyes, mysterious smoke blue lights everywhere, and all sexy smoking women from the 80s dressed up in the most high fashions of the most Euro trash possible. More than usual in this one, as if like it almost feels like an American was trying to make a giallo type film. It's a great scene where just like a winery explodes and bottles of red wine goes everywhere and the earth starts to crack. There's a tomb underneath a popular spot in this town, and students are going there and rich people are going to check it out and stuff like that. But this time that the secret tomb underneath is opening up and evil spirits are coming out. Lots of like pointless wind flashing around, people being covered in actual rats, because rats seem to be just something very easy to find in Europe, so they would just dump them on actors all the time. Also discovered, because most of Italian movies like this were dubbed after the fact, you can tell that they just wanted... You've got your ugly actors and your older actors, and they're actually doing some acting. But for a lot of the young cast, they're not actors. They just found attractive people. Because you can see when a lot of students are together, they're literally like looking at the camera or mugging the camera, but you don't hear them because it's dubbed after the fact. So it's just then next thing it's a lot of screaming or a lot of just sarcastic random banter in the background, sounding like when Popeye talks to somebody. Lots of glass breaking, close-ups of cuts. Like I say, close-ups of eyes and glimmers on their eyes and stuff like that. And then randomly cutting to someone's butt. There is a cool appearance by the creature from the Black Lagoon at the beginning in a very meta scene. And in that opening scene, when you see this woman being attacked by the creature from the Black Lagoon as they're filming a movie, you get a gist of just how glamour Euro this film was. Which still, oh man, I keep thinking of one guy who's had a tattoo on his arm of a snake, and it looks like someone just painted it on with glitter, though. And then he's just wearing like the tightest leather pants. I mean, at least that's supposed to be a little weird, but I have a feeling in 1987 Italy, it was less weird to them than it was to us. It's a tease, really, this film, because it has all of the images you want to see in the Italian horror films that we've all liked. But, man, does it waste a lot of your time. Maybe I'm just tired. That's why I need that walk around. I'll walk around like Donald Pleasance again. So you see, the tomb has never been found under the city and has never been opened, but history says one day it will open itself for no reason. Oh, I cracked my neck. Anyway, no, I actually kind of advise you to check out Spectres. Especially because a lot of those films are really just about visual anyway. So yeah, look it out. Look it up. Look out for it. I don't fucking know what I'm saying. I got 2 more to go. I just watched a found footage horror film, sort of, on Tubi called Oktoberfest. It's just literally some dink walking around with a camera going, hey, filming this thing, with his phone, the whole time. It's just this, filming this thing, oh, hey, it's this person, like going on for like 45 minutes like that, so that it can pretend that it's someone's real footage found, so then when something terrible happens to him at the end, that there is, it could be real footage, but constantly with shitty effects over the screen the whole time that is an effect from your camera to make it look like it's an old VHS or something, which fuck it isn't, because why would your phone do that? Just have your thumb in the way. That's what it should have the whole time when you're doing selfies. And then to use just random stock video editing things at the end too, to be like like it tries to have like someone being killed with its camera, but it's samples. I don't know. And that, who cares when you get to that point? It's literally just, hey, man, and then saying, motherfucker, hey, I'm hanging, motherfucker. So swearing a lot because that makes it sound natural. Some of it is totally, obviously, just them filming while walking around their school and shit. But the first 10 minutes of this only hour and 2-minute film is trailers for films that they're working on, which look better than this one. Oktoberfest, it's called. Oktoberfest has a really cool clown-looking creature in the poster, which has nothing to do with this film. Nothing. There should at least be some sausages, some Oktoberfest sausages. Pretty smudge. The last film in the Painathon is here, and I'm dead. It killed me. The last one is the worst. Incident at Area 51. Why? Why is it so bad? Because it's a present-day, no-budget sci-fi? Yeah, but because it's uncorked. That's our good buddies at the Perfect Turd Podcast. Every team. I see, I can't talk anymore. I've turned to a skeleton. My brain is rotted out. I'm dead. This movie killed me. It's an uncorked film. One of those no-budget Brit sci-fi things done with people who think they're real actors, so they're not having any fun in it while they're still bad. The weird CGI. Once the alien monsters in this film finally showed up, I was like, oh, finally they're here. And then I looked at the time. It had only been 14 minutes. It felt like it was half the movie. The movie isn't that long. But then as soon as the monsters show up and it's destroying everything, it's apocalypse happening in like 2 minutes. And so then when they take a break from that and it goes back to like character development, you don't give a fuck. There's lots of characters to have story in here, and you don't give a fuck. And then it ends, because I'm going to spoil it for you, in this massive, huge Godzilla-esque CGI thing that in theory should look good in concept of how it's positioned and placed on that, tide appearing road that's, I think, on its way to one of the islands past Wales. And they're witnessing a giant portal for a giant monster alien, and jets just fight it. They're shooting at these monsters all the time, and it can't hurt them. Is their idea to hurt them finally? It's not a plan. There's not an idea. Just shoot more, and then eventually they'll die. And then cut to some clip art of things exploding. A thing that looks like it totally was stolen from a Stargate video game. The creator of Making Contact will be pissed. And then, then it just fucking ends. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad. It's from the maker of Killing Tree, which at least I found that kind of funny. That guy has worked, that director has then been like an assistant for a million other Uncorked films. They're a very mixed match group of people. I wonder if people in the UK know just what Uncorked films do to us, or if it's staying hidden from them, because only recently has Tubi been available at a normal IP address to the UK. Do they know what they've wrought upon us? Do they know what they opened when they went to Area 51? Why is Area 51 in the UK? Actually, I don't think it is. I think that's just what the actors are. I don't know. Fuck. This has been Painathon 2024. I'm gonna go to bed.
This is modern art. Decent